One more question. Like, I love finance, so ask all the questions you want because I'd rather you guys know this stuff than be lied to. Unfortunately, there's no book on this. There's no class. It's kind of like one of those things where it's a pay to play. And unless you're actually doing it or you went to some elitist school, which I did not, I'm one of those, like, I had to find out the hard way. But I'll answer your question. Enough about me. One more question. I was told that I'd be paying interest back on a monthly basis in my account, but how do I pay back the equity I borrowed from? Is it necessary to pay back? I've seen some people say, all right, so the last comment's not there. So I assume you're referring to a margin loan. So like my current interest rate, and it depends on the broker really. Okay, so I'm going to use my own interest rate because yours might be different. Mine is 7.75. So the interest rate is very. You can always adjust it down. I don't know what broker you use. You can ask them to reduce it, so keep that in mind. And it's going to be based on the Fed funds rate. It is the lowest interest rate you will get. Just so you know, it's lower than car rates, it's lower than mortgages. It is the lowest rate you will get is lending against your assets. So mine's 7.75%. Okay. So say tomorrow I was to go borrow, I don't know. I put $50,000 into into a brokerage account, or 100,000. Say I put 100,000 into a brokerage account. I want to then go borrow 100,000. Okay, I can borrow that 100,000. It's going to cost me about 600. It's going to cost me $7,500 a year. Okay, but it's going to get charged to my balance at $650 a month, roughly. The interest, I don't ever have to pay back the principal. The interest is just going to get charged to my account. So what'll happen is, say I have 100,000, say in Apple stock or whatever. It's better if the stock pays a dividend or if you're selling premiums. But say you have it in Apple stock, okay? You have 100 grand worth of Apple stock. You can borrow up to like an extra, again, depending on the broker, you'll see what the margin maintenance is. So if it's the lowest you can get is a 25% margin maintenance. So, which means you have 4x of borrowing power. A lot of brokers now are 30% is the lowest. In Apple's, I believe, is 30%, which would give you, I don't know, like 333,000 in borrowing power if you had 100 grand in Apple stock. But so say you need 100 grand, you want to go out and buy a Ferrari, you want to go make a down payment on a house, you want to pay off your credit card, get the girlfriend some double D's, whatever it is, doesn't matter. You can literally, what you're going to do is you can get a credit card attached to your account. Once you hit above 250,000, like everyone thinks like the Amex is special. The Amex is special, and most people don't have this until it literally says your broker's name across it. That's 250,000. Once you get to $1 million, like the benefits are like ridiculous, way better than the black card. But each broker will have their own version of a credit card. So you can pay things with your credit card. And it literally, like, you'll just see like a negative amount in your account. So what happens is, like, as your Apple stock just continues to grow in value like this, your debt, your negative is going down. But because your Apple stock is going up, say, I don't know, we'll say 10% a year, but your interest rate might be 7.75, you're going to get the net of 2.25. You'll be able to keep the net. So essentially, like, you never actually have to pay off the balance. Where things get fun, because I recently just did, because I was trading and stuff, I recently just paid off a huge margin balance. Because I don't know, I'll probably trade a couple million throughout the month. And if you get into options selling, like you can do this with dividends. You can just go buy like XDTE, for instance, or XPay or SPYI, and they will pay you either a weekly or a monthly dividend, which will, so say your balance is 675 grand is what the margin interest, it'll just get charged to your account and it will just show up as a negative in your account balance. So it'll be, you'll owe 100,000 and now you'll owe 100,675 or 100,000 and 750, whatever your interest rate is. I think Robinhood's pretty cheap. It's like 5.5%. Interactive Brokers is like 5%. They're difficult to use though. And so, yeah, it'll just get charged on a monthly basis. If you have dividends, the dividends, if you have them going to cash and not reinvesting, auto reinvesting, the cash will quite literally just pay off. It'll just pay off the interest for you while your stock, like SPYI is really good at this, or QQQI, both NEOS index funds. One tracks the S&P 500, the other one tracks the NASDAQ, and they pay, I think it's 12% annually dividends, like 12 to 14%, plus they grow a little. So you get to keep the difference between what your borrowed money is versus what you're earning in interest and dividends. So that's cool. You could always do something like that. If you're like me and you want to pay it off faster, I do options selling. So like say you had that 100 grand in Apple stock or a 2x of Apple or whatever you want to do, you would sell options, or you would, in this case, if you had the stock already, you would sell covered calls against your Apple stock significantly out of the money. And when you do that, you're going to collect a premium, right? It's the same thing as a dividend. You're going to collect a premium on that immediately. Could be 3 grand, 4 grand, 5 grand, whatever. And that will quite literally just pay off your margin balance. And then you can either wait for that to expire, or you can close it out early, do it again, and you quite literally just keep on recycling the money over and over and over again until your balance is paid off. That's what I do. I do the options because it's significantly better than just holding ETFs. But if that's too complicated, like I said, you could just buy ETFs that pay off the balance if you don't like holding debt. Otherwise, you could quite literally just let your Vanguard fund or Apple or Google or Nvidia, whatever, just keep on going up. You don't ever have to pay off the debt, because here's the thing, right? As soon as you start selling that Apple stock, that becomes taxable income, and we don't want taxable income. So it's better to just never sell. It's better to just let. The other way to think about this is like real estate. If you're a landlord, right? You're going to take out a bunch of money. The tenant's going to pay off that mortgage, and then you're just going to like refinance, take out the cash, that debt instrument, that cash you took out, that is your income, but it's not taxable income. You can essentially think of the interest rate you're paying as the taxable income, and then your dividends or your option selling or your tenants, those are all basically the same thing. They are going to pay off that debt, and then you're going to do it again. And that's it. I hope that makes sense.